All right, next we'll be looking at Advanced Methods, page 24, exercise 6. The first thing that we want to look at is, again, the key signature. It looks like we are in the key of C, but we're actually in the key of A minor. Both of these do not have any sharps or flats. And so we don't need to worry about that, except for any accidentals that might be in here. There's only a couple accidentals. So the next thing we want to look at is the time signature. We're in 3/8. This means that there are 3/8 notes per bar. Whenever we are setting our metronome, we probably want to set it around 40 to start off with. Here's 40. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. The next thing that we want to look at is the dynamic markings. You'll see that there is, the very beginning, there's piano. And then at the end of the top line, there's forte. So we're going to want to start a little soft, but we also want to start supported, especially since we're starting on a low E here. Let's also look at the tempo marking. So we have allegretto, and that is moderately fast. Now, I was talking about 40 beats per minute. Moderately fast can even be closer to 100. Now, I don't want you to start on 100, I want you to probably start on 40. So right at the very beginning, we're starting on low E. So just really make sure that you are giving it support, you're not pushing the reed too far in, and that your embouchure is giving lots of cushion with your lips so you're not smiling or having thin lips. So here's right at the beginning, and I'm only going to play the top line here at 40. So let's get this started here. 1, 2, 3 here. And all right. I played a little more than the top line, but we really want to make sure that there's a distinction between piano and the forte. And so it might mean that you need to even start a little softer on the piano so that the forte is more dramatic. One thing that I've noticed a lot of students do is they'll start a little too loud and then they get to the forte and then they're playing really loud, but there's not a huge distinction between them. So consider making the piano portion at the very beginning softer and then playing the forte a little bit louder, just so that there's more of a dramatic difference. And so that'll be something that the judges will be paying attention to. Another thing to look out for too is the tonguing. So make sure that you have a very light tongue, that you're playing just right on the very tip. One big thing about this piece would be the breathing. You'll probably notice after a while there'll be spots that you're just going to feel out of breath. Oboe is a unique instrument where you'll have a back up of air and it would almost feel like you're holding your breath, so you actually have to release some air and let some in. And so I'll show you what my music looks like here. So right from the very beginning, you can see that I've written big right there. So that's reminding me to take a big breath so that I can make it all the way over to here. Now I put a breath mark in right there. I've also measured all my numbers. You can also see I've written another big right here to remind myself to take a big breath again. I would recommend breathing right at that spot, and so at the end of the phrase, and then right here also. And so then we'll come down the third line here, and you'll see that I've written in out. So that's going to tell me that I want to take a breath out, and then the next breath mark that I have is right here. Now, you might need a breath between measure 25 and to here, but try to take a big enough breath in that you can make it through that whole entire section. Next, I remind myself to take another big breath right there, and then at the end of that line, I also have one right here, and then I don't take one until right before the last two notes. And make sure to take that breath before the last two notes, just so you can make it through without feeling like you're not going to make it. Again, you can observe all those, maybe pause it too, and put all those breath marks into your music, including the out and in. If you look at the third line down, you'll see that measure 26, or the last two measures of that third line, there's a crescendo there. There's also a crescendo right before that on the third line on the fourth measure in. And so you'll see that it crescendos up and then it decrescendos back down pretty suddenly. This is something that you really want to bring out in the music. Also that the judges will be listening for too. And so starting on line 3, just right at the very beginning of that line, I'll play from right there. And just listen to how I'm going to really crescendo and then I'm going to decrescendo, making it dramatic. And also whenever I get to measure 25, I'm going to continue to play and I'm going to crescendo that all the way into measure 28 and might play just a little bit more. So just really pay attention to how I'm shifting those dynamics, creating those interests, and really playing what's written on the page. This is the third line, first measure. So make sure that you're just putting a big distinction between the softs and the louds, and that you're really following what's on the page as you are going through this piece. So practice those in while you're playing through this. One place that you can really show the dynamic contrast is on the fourth line, 6 measures in. You'll see that there's a piano marking, and you're playing a G. And just playing that really soft, especially right before you get to the fortissimo, the double F. Really make a huge difference between this, because this is the most dramatic dynamic shift in the whole entire piece, where you're going from a really soft point to really loud. And so I'll play through that one more time here as I did a second ago. So soft, loud, and soft right there. So for the last 2 notes, make sure that you take that breath right before, and so that you have enough support to be able to last through that fermata. There's a fermata on the very last note of this piece. And so really make sure that you're playing it soft, but also want to encourage you on these last 2 notes, don't try to play it so soft that your instrument won't respond. It will depend on your reed and also how much support you're giving it. You can give it support with your air, but also have it quieter. I encourage you to make sure that you don't give it not enough air, but that you give it just enough that the note will respond, and that you'll know it will respond whenever you play. So I'll play the last 4 measures here. All right, that's it. Thank you.